It's like snowboarding, but on the water. Waterboarding. Oh wait.
The island of Siargao is fast becoming one of the most popular destinations in the Philippines. And to call it surfing obsessed would be a bit of an understatement. This is an island that wears its wave riding culture firmly on its sleeve.
So if you're a fan of balancing on a wooden board in the ocean or doing this all the time, then there's no better place to come in the Philippines. But if you're a non-surfer like me, you might be wondering if it's worth you coming here. So we're going to take a look at all the things to do on the island, including some island hopping as well, and see what Siargao is all about.
Let's start off in one of the island's most popular areas. The coastal town of General Luna is the main tourist centre on the island. The main road running through the middle of it is called Tourism Road. So really, that tells you everything you need to know. This whole place is packed with little hipster restaurants and coffee bars, where the food is as Instagrammable as it is delicious. And you have tons of clothing boutiques and surf shops, giving this whole place a Bali or Hawaii type vibe. And for accommodation, there are tons of choices from upmarket resorts to cheap hostels. We rented a little Airbnb cabin just off the main strip, where we had some very friendly neighbours to keep us company. General Luna Town is a stone's throw away from the real surfing mecca of Siargao, at Cloud 9. Jutting out from the beach is the iconic wooden boardwalk, with a 3-storey viewing deck at the far end. During the day, this is the best spot to watch the wave worshippers do what they do best. Even for a non-surfer, it's pretty fun to watch. There are lots of surfing competitions and festivals here throughout the year. And you can also spot the larger groups of beginners catching their first waves too. So you'll most likely see some falls as well. And in the evenings, this is a great spot to see the sunset. When the landscape of the coast completely changes as the tide goes out. But the real appeal of Siargao for non-surfers lies away from surfing central. So we got up very early the next day to see one of the island's natural treasures. Sugba Lagoon is a popular day trip from General Luna, and we wanted to see it in its best light.
Good morning. It's 6:30 a.m. and we're up early to hopefully avoid some crowds. We're going to rent a bike, head over to Del Carmen, and from there we're going to get a boat to the Sugba Lagoon. Let's go. We headed into town to find some wheels, which definitely isn't difficult here. The only tricky part was finding some helmets to go with the bike. Helmets don't really seem to be a thing here. The locals definitely don't wear them, and a lot of bike rental places also don't offer them for tourists. So there are places that do them, so it's definitely worth seeking them out because it's just not worth the risk. Finally, we fueled up and we hit the road. What Siargao's surfing reputation overshadows is how naturally diverse the rest of the island is. We've We've only really just started our journey, but the scenery is already really stunning. So lush and green.
Once you get out of the main town, you come face to face with beautiful views over the countryside.
We have arrived in Del Carmen. It was a really nice ride. Took us about an hour. Really smooth roads and the scenery is just incredible. Now we need to find a boat to get over to the lagoon.
At the port in Del Carmen, you pay for a boat ticket and wait for your number to be called. And after a bit of a wait, we got our call to climb aboard. The boat trip towards the lagoon takes you across some silky smooth waters with views of huge mangrove forests and rolling hills all around. The Sugba Lagoon is tucked away between these narrow rock formations. And on the other side, we came face to face with this amazing hidden beauty.
Welcome to Sugba Lagoon. You get dropped off on this mental busy pontoon that's just so crowded with people. And there's a diving board there that, to be honest, most people weren't actually diving in, they were just sitting on it to take some photos.
Don't let the crowds worry you though. You can just rent some kayaks from here and set off on your own little adventure.
Luckily, the lagoon is so massive that once you're on one of those, you can get to some peaceful spots pretty quickly.
Within a few minutes, we had this whole side lagoon completely to ourselves. And at the far end, there was something that we didn't expect to see.
Just spotted something up ahead. Looks like another diving board, but there's nobody at this one.
So of course, I decided to climb it.
Amazing view. It's always good to have somewhere like this, especially when you don't have a drone, like me. Didn't even know this was up here. Don't think I'm going to be jumping down here though. It's pretty high. The lagoon is really nice and definitely worth visiting. And even though we didn't beat the crowds with our early start, it was still worth it to get there in good time because after we arrived, there was more and more people arriving every 10 minutes. So by about midday when we left, it was super packed.
The next day, we grabbed another bike and explored some more of the amazing countryside.
I like this helmet. It makes me look like Judge Dredd. This morning we are going to head to Magpupunko Beach, which has some really cool rock formations at low tide, and between them along the coast there's these crystal clear like natural swimming pools, so excited to check that out.
But first, we made a quick stop at one of the best viewpoints on the island.
That is a lot of palm trees.
The beach at Magpupunko is really nice, but not many people are interested in that because the main attraction here is hidden just around the coast. At
low tide, the sea reveals these really cool rock formations, and And there's also these sort of natural swimming pools, and there's a series of them along the coast. They've got this crystal clear water, and it's just so nice to have a swim in there.
We continued our trip through the greenery and ended up at the Maasin Bridge. Now, the bridge itself isn't the main reason to come here. It's the natural sights along the riverbank right underneath it. You can take a nice stroll through a little village under the bridge, which ends up at this tall curved palm tree, which you jump off on a crazy rope swing. This lady here was having a bit of trouble letting go when we arrived, but she made it into the water eventually. So the green nature of Siargao is definitely worth seeing. But I think we saved the very best sights until our last day.
It's another day in lovely Siargao, and today is all about island hopping.
We booked a tour through My Siargao Guide, which included possibly the best lunch I had in the Philippines, as well as unlimited alcohol and snacks, which is a great deal if you ask me. The tour includes visits to 3 different islands, and it wasn't long before we arrived at the first.
Our first stop is Yam Island, which is extremely small. You can walk around in under 15 minutes. For such a small place, there's actually a surprising amount built on here. There's a bar, there's a little restaurant, there's a basketball court, and all around the outside are these very cool rock pools.
This island also had an amazing amount of different seats to relax in. There were swings, hammocks, swinging cocoon things, and even double hammocks.
It's not working.
Island life.
Our second stop was probably the most well-known of all of the islands outside of Siargao, and it's famous for a very good reason.
If you thought the last island was small, check this place out. This is Naked Island.
The water here is unbelievably clear. That real swimming pool colour blue. It was an amazing place to take a swim.
I love this. The only way to find shade on this island is if you bring it with you.
Our third and final stop was Dockoh Island, the only stop on the tour that is actually inhabited all year round. And it was here where we enjoyed that delicious freshly cooked lunch. We had a lot of great meals on island hopping tours in the Philippines, but this one just took it to the next level. We had adobo, pancit, and even some delicious ceviche.
Yeah, we also have the toilet in there, and we have fresh water. Very good.
When we had finished eating, our guide took us on a walk around the tiny village on the island. I don't know how many people live here, but there was a tiny little school and even a small church for the locals. And before we left, we still had time to take a swim in some more incredible blue water. Siargao may be most well known for its surfing culture, but as you can see, there is so much more to enjoy here. It's no wonder that it's become one of the most popular islands to visit in the Philippines. And sadly, this was the last island that we visited. But don't worry, there's still a couple more videos coming very soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time for a very special Philippines adventure.